She called me broke, then watched my private chopper land. I still remember the way everyone froze, how the world seemed to hold its breath at the exact moment Madison decided to stand up in front of 20 people and peel the dignity off me like old wallpaper. It was all white linen, clinking glasses, candlelight flickering against the polished deck of her father's Rhode Island beach house, and then her voice cutting through it all, steady, rehearsed, cruel in that soft, polite way wealthy people weaponize politeness. She said dating me was a cute phase, something she'd outgrown, that I was financially unrealistic for the life she was building, and when her father, Richard, tossed a $100 bill across the table, it didn't just land. It spun midair, fluttered down like a wounded bird, and smacked dead into the butter dish, sticking there in a greasy, insulting, perfect little tableau. Someone gasped. Someone snorted. Madison looked proud of herself. And me? I didn't feel anger, not even embarrassment. Just this cold, still clarity, a kind of internal click. Because here's the part nobody at that table knew. 3 years earlier, I made a very intentional choice to disappear. Not physically, financially. I had spent my 20s building a supply chain optimization algorithm that now runs under half the major U.S. cargo routes. Sold a controlling stake for more money than any person needs, then watched how quickly human beings bent, twisted, and rotted when they found out I had it. Friends got weird. Women performed affection, like an audition. Strangers laughed too hard at things I didn't actually say to be funny. I lost myself somewhere between the cars and the penthouse and the flattery, so I nuked that version of me, moved into a plain apartment in Astoria, bought a used Subaru, wore Target tees, kept my old Casio, told anyone who asked that I worked in port logistics, which was technically true if you ignored 8 zeros. And then I met Madison at a dog park with her French bulldog and her curated laugh. I wanted to believe she was different. I ignored every red flag. The way she flinched at cheap restaurants, the way she mocked my watch, the way she said my car felt like Uber pool energy. I swallowed it because I thought love required patience. I didn't realize patience was turning me into beige wallpaper in my own life. That week at the beach house was a slow-motion detonation. From the moment Richard saw my car and said, "That's adorable. People still drive these?" to the way Madison, a guy named Chad or Brad or something in loafers with no socks, hang over his shoulder while I stood there like a misplaced lamp. It was obvious I'd been reclassified from boyfriend to background noise. The kind of man people speak over instead of to, but I was determined not to break first. I wanted to see who she would be when she thought I had nothing to offer. On Wednesday, after carrying golf bags to guys who couldn't swing without grunting like they were giving birth, I overheard Richard say, "Madison needs a partner who elevates her, not some budget hobbyist." On Thursday, she rolled her eyes when I said good morning. On Thursday afternoon, she took a photo with a hedge fund guy while resting her hand on his chest like they were already soft-launching each other. And on Thursday night, right before she decided to make me the evening's entertainment, I brought her a coffee, her exact order, and she took it without looking up, murmuring, "Just put it down somewhere, Daniel." So when she stood up and declared me broke, when she dressed it up like a TED Talk about aligning lifestyles, when Richard tossed a $100 bill like a tip for services rendered, something ancient and mechanical in me activated. My heartbeat didn't even rise. I pulled out my phone, typed, "Initiate extraction, package Phoenix now." That was a protocol my security team and I came up with years ago for emergencies. Kidnapping attempts, compromise meetings, stuff normal people never have to think about. I had never expected to use it at a birthday dinner, but humiliation is its own kind of danger. I slipped my phone back into my pocket, leaned back, and waited. At first, they didn't hear it. The ocean was too loud. But then the champagne flutes began to tremble. People looked up. A strange, rhythmic thumping rolled across the dunes, growing deeper, sharper, until the napkins fluttered like startled birds. Then the helicopter crested the hill. Not a tourist chopper, not some newscraft, but my matte gray Augusta Westland with the emblem of my holding company, Kestrel Systems, stenciled faintly along the tail. The rotor washed at the deck hard, ripping white tablecloth sideways, blowing Richard's comb-over clean into the air, sending someone's fake eyelash skittering across the boards. Madison shielded her face. squinting at the machine like it was a hallucination. "What is that?" she shouted. I stood slowly, picked up Richard's $100 bill with 2 fingers, studied the butter smear across Franklin's face, and set it gently back in the dish. "My ride," I said. When the chopper door slid open, my head of security, Ethan, stepped out in a tactical vest, sunglasses on despite it being evening, looking like he'd come to extract a diplomat from a hostile border. Gasps rippled across the table. Madison's mascara smeared from the wind. Richard staggered forward, yelling, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And for once, I answered honestly. I walked right up to the table, leaned close enough for only them to hear, and said, "You called me broke, but I spent more on the fuel to get this aircraft here than your father made last fiscal year. I know because I checked his financials before agreeing to this trip." The way Richard's face drained, my God, it should have been framed. Madison reached for my arm, her voice going tinny with panic. "Daniel, baby, please, just talk to me." But the wind shoved her back like even the universe was uninterested in her excuses. I didn't touch her, didn't say goodbye. I just turned, climbed aboard, and let Ethan slide the door shut. As the helicopter lifted off, everyone craned their necks upward, phones out, hair whipping, expressions melting from confusion into horror as Skyline money broke the illusion they'd built around me. The fallout was immediate. The video hit social media like gasoline on a bonfire. By the time we landed in Manhattan, my phone was melting with notifications. People online called the moment the butter dish beatdown and the chopper breakup her around the East Coast. Madison left voicemails crying, yelling, bargaining, rewriting history so fast she could have published her own fiction anthology. Her father tried to call me son. I blocked them both. And when I quietly flagged his upcoming development deal to a fund manager, just enough to suggest they scrutinize his liquidity, the entire deal evaporated. Turns out Richard's empire was built on optimism and overdue invoices. Within 2 weeks, creditors circled. Lawsuits surfaced. The man who told me to take the bus home suddenly had to sell his own car collection. The last time I saw Madison was at a restaurant in the city where I was meeting an attorney for dinner. She looked smaller, like life had air-dried her. She stood up when she saw me, plastering on a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Daniel, you look incredible," she breathed, reaching for my hand. I kept mine in my pockets. She begged me to sit, said she'd been confused, said she only pushed me away because she was scared of how much she cared, which was rich considering she dumped me on a deck like expired leftovers. Richard tried to apologize too, voice trembling, pride broken. But apologies only matter when your behavior isn't contingent on your opponent's net worth. I told them both the truth. If you had treated me with respect when you thought I had nothing, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Then I turned and left them sitting in the wreckage they built themselves. It's been a month. Their financial collapse is the talk of certain circles. Madison deactivated all her accounts after people started calling her Butter Dish Barbie. She moved in with an aunt somewhere. I don't feel triumphant. Just clean, empty in a peaceful way. I finally bought myself a car I'd always wanted, a deep green Aston Martin, but I still walk most places, still take Max to the park, still wear plain shirts. Last week, at a bookstore, I met someone. Her name's Elise. She knocked over a stack of travel books with her backpack, and when I helped her pick them up, she smiled and pointed at my wrist. "I love those old Casio watches," she said. "They remind me of childhood." Not, "Why don't you upgrade?" Not, "Do you know what looks better?" Just a simple, real compliment to a thing that has nothing to do with money. We got coffee. She didn't ask what I do. She asked what I love. And as I sat there with her, listening to her talk about volunteering at a community center and her favorite trail upstate, I realized I didn't need anyone to see the helicopter or the company or the money. I needed someone to see me. Just me. So yeah, that's the story. The night a $100 bill, butter-soaked and mocking, told me everything I needed to know about the people at that table. The night a helicopter was a revenge. It was an exit, a reminder that walking away is sometimes a real luxury. And if you're with someone who treats you like a placeholder because they think you have nothing to offer, leave. Even if you don't have rotors thumping behind you, even if your escape is as simple as a quiet walk out the door, your worth isn't measured by their perception. It's measured by the moment you decide you're done letting someone like Madison define it for you.